You know, when someone says ancient empire, your mind probably jumps straight to Alexander the Great, right? But what if I told you the real genius, the guy who actually drew up the plans for that legendary conquest, was his dad? Today, we're diving into the story of the man who built the empire before the emperor ever took the throne.
Yeah, we all know the legend. It's one of those huge historical questions, isn't it? How on earth did one guy, Alexander, manage to conquer pretty much the entire known world, from Greece all the way to India, in just, what, a decade?
Well, the answer is actually simpler and honestly way more interesting than you might think. Because if you really want to understand how Alexander pulled it off, you've got to go back a step. You have to understand the absolute genius of his father, Philip II. It all started with him.
Okay, so to really get what Philip accomplished, you first have to understand the total train wreck of a kingdom he was handed. We're talking mid-4th century BC, and Macedon, it wasn't some rising power. No, it was basically a failed state, teetering on the brink of being wiped off the map for good. I mean, just look at this situation. It's a complete catastrophe. Their army just got smashed by the Illyrians. The king killed in that very same battle. Meanwhile, you've got invaders pouring in from the north and east, the Athenians are landing troops on the coast, oh, and the heir to the throne? An infant. It doesn't get much worse than this. This was a kingdom in total collapse. But then comes Philip. Now, he's only supposed to be the regent, the guy keeping the throne warm for his baby nephew. But Philip had zero interest in just managing the decline. He showed up with a plan. And it wasn't just a plan to save Macedon, it was a radical blueprint to turn this forgotten backwater into an absolute superpower. See, he wasn't just putting out fires, he was tearing the whole thing down to the studs and rebuilding it based on 3 core ideas. Pillar 1, revolutionize the military, create a totally new kind of army. Pillar 2, get cunning with diplomacy, use things like marriage as a weapon of state. And Pillar 3, take those first 2 pillars and unleash them in a wave of relentless, smart conquest. And right at the core of his military revolution was this thing, the sarissa. We're talking about a pike that was just absurdly long, sometimes up to 21 feet. Now, on its own, it's awkward, it's clunky, you can imagine. But in the system Philip designed, it was the key to making his army practically unbeatable. And this changed everything. I mean, think about it. The old-school Greek hoplite was basically an individual warrior, a tough guy with a shield and spear fighting in a line. Philip's new phalanx was totally different. It wasn't a collection of individuals, it was a single living machine, a giant moving wall of spear points, like a deadly hedgehog that old-style armies just couldn't get close to. All right, so what about that second pillar, his cunning diplomacy? Let's talk about this number, 7. Any guesses? That's right, 7. That's how many wives Philip took. And trust me, these were not love stories. Every single marriage was a stone-cold political calculation. Marry an Epirite princess here, a Thracian chief's daughter there. Each one was a strategic move to lock down a border or turn an enemy into an ally. So now he's got his revolutionary army. He's got his web of political alliances. Philip was finally ready to unleash that third pillar, the complete and total domination of Greece. And the speed at which he did it is just staggering. I mean, look at this timeline. In just 20 years, he takes Macedon from near extinction to being the undisputed master of Greece. He crushes the Illyrians, getting revenge for his brother. He takes over the crucial territory of Thessaly. And then comes the big one, 338 BC. He goes up against the combined might of Athens and Thebes, and at the Battle of Chaeronea, he just dismantles them. The man's confidence was off the charts. You probably heard this one. He sends a message to the Spartans, the toughest of the tough, basically saying, if I invade your lands, I will destroy you. And the Spartans send back that legendary one-word reply, if. It's a great line, right? Well, Philip did invade, and he tore through their territory, proving that even the legendary Spartan grit was no match for his new war machine. So that victory at Chaeronea, that was it. That was checkmate. After that, Philip basically forces all the Greek states, well, almost all of them, into this new organization called the League of Corinth. And guess who they elect as the supreme commander, the hegemon? You guessed it, Philip. He had done what no one thought possible. He unified Greece, essentially by conquest.
So you have to ask, why? Why do all this? Was it just about ruling Greece? Nope. This was all just phase 1. Philip had a much, much bigger goal. He wanted to stop the Greeks from constantly fighting each other, and the best way to do that is to give them a common enemy.
And who was the biggest, baddest enemy of them all? The massive Persian Empire.
So the stage is set. He's got the army. He's got a united Greece behind him. He's got the invasion plan all mapped out. He even has a 10,000-man advance force already over in Asia, paving the way. He is at the absolute peak of his power. And then, out of nowhere, it all comes crashing down in a sudden, violent, and very mysterious way.
Picture this. It's 336 BC. Philip is at this huge public festival, a wedding for his own daughter. He's walking into a theater packed with VIPs from all over Greece. And in that one moment, when he's vulnerable, one of his own personal bodyguards rushes him and stabs him to death. Just like that. It's over.
Now the assassin, a guy named Pausanias, was caught and killed almost instantly. A little too convenient, right? And his quick death left history with this huge, burning question. Was this just one guy with a grudge, or was he a pawn in a much bigger, deadlier game?
Yeah, historians are still arguing about this one. The official story that came out was that it was personal revenge. Apparently, the assassin had been assaulted by someone high up in the court, and Philip blew him off, refused to give him justice. Plausible? Maybe. But the suspicion immediately fell on the two people who had the most to gain from Philip's death, his powerful, estranged wife, Olympias, and of course, their incredibly ambitious son, Alexander. The truth? We'll probably never know for sure.
But here's the thing. Whoever was behind it, the result was the same. Philip's death didn't end his grand plan for Persia. Not at all. It just handed the keys to someone else. He left his son, a 20-year-old Alexander, the perfect starter kit for world conquest. A united Greece, the best army on the planet, and a fully formed, ready-to-go plan to invade Asia.
Which brings us back to the big question, doesn't it? When you think about this massive empire, who really gets the credit? Is it the architect, the guy who spent his entire life designing the machine and drawing up the blueprints? Or is it the executor, the one who took those plans and unleashed them on a scale nobody could have ever imagined? It really makes you think.